This episode of This Week in Our Collective Heads, we talk about old games, new games, and we almost got to talk about Ancient Aliens.
This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick, and this is Kevin, a man who has no idea who Toby Hooper is.
It's a Marvel character's alias?
Director and creator of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Unfortunately, he passed away today, and I wanted to make sure that that I gave my condolences, at least to his family, in the only way that I know how to do, which is a show about video games. And that's what you're here for, is to watch us and listen to us talk about video game news like we do every single week. We give you gaming news in a roundup fashion as quick as we can without trying to ramble too much about what's happening in video games.
Right, but before we get to that, we have these now.
Yes, we do.
These were made by a fan and given to us to celebrate our 100th episode.
Yes, and they're awesome.
So thank you very much, Nina.
Yeah. Starting out with the games with gold, we had, in my opinion, we have a pretty lackluster setup here. We have
Forza Motorsport 5,
which is probably one of the better racing games.
Yeah.
We play a lot of racing games for the roundup for you guys. This is one of the better franchises, so I'm happy and excited that this is actually going to be coming out for free for us. Also getting Hydro Thunder,
which I had never actually seen on a console. I've only ever seen it in the arcade. Like, I like to sit down and just push up the throttle and the seat bumps up. And like, that's the cool part.
Yes. I'm excited about that because that's one of the only game. Well, there's a handful of games that I really like at arcades that are still at arcades.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are being replaced by basically larger versions of mobile phone games. So seeing this was really cool.
That still blows me away. I don't get that.
You don't want to play Flappy Bird on a giant screen?
No, or Ninja
Fruit Ninja.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I don't play mobile games.
It's dumb. We also get Oxenfree.
Yes, I've heard really good things about this one. It's supposed to be like Lost meets Joss Whedon meets other stuff, and I've heard some stuff about the way that they recorded the audio, and you can jump in and like start talking at any time, so you can actually interrupt the other characters, but they'll react to that, to the fact that you interrupted them. And like there'll be times when you're like walking through a scene while a conversation's taking place, and so yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this game is all about, checking it out, and seeing if it is as good as it's supposed to be.
Yes. We also got Battlefield 3.
Yes.
And it's a game that I definitely skipped, and I can't skip it now.
It's going to be a shooting game.
So it's going to be a shooting game. Apparently there's vehicles that happen at one point or another.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see how it is in comparison to the recent Call of Duty games.
So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it now, though. Oxenfree is going to be the highlight.
I guarantee it. I guarantee Oxenfree will be the highlight. So we'll let you know about that in the Gold Plus Roundup, where we review games with Gold and PlayStation Plus games.
Yes.
Coming up to the regular news of the show, Ark Survival had some news recently about the... So a couple weeks ago, we actually talked about this, where the private servers were supposed to not be... the servers weren't supposed to get wiped on launch. And now we're coming up to launch, and...
Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than that. They're saying that like the low population servers. Yeah. So they're saying that none of the servers with like more than a dozen people are going to get wiped. So I really don't think this is going to affect. Right, I don't think this is going to affect many people, and I didn't want people to freak out if you played Ark and you're worried about your character.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just up and running around on public servers, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew about that.
Yes.
And then another thing. For PC and Xbox players, the Sea of Thieves alpha is going to be kind of an opt-in thing, and they're just letting everybody come in. This is a really exciting thing from Rare, and what I keep hearing is that once you play it, you're gonna get it, because it kind of looks like fun.
Yeah.
But it just seems like something that that's going to be a lot more fun once people get into it. And I think it will be fun to just kind of run around on ships and run around. Like, I like the idea of singing shanties with actual people.
Yes,
that sounds cool.
I think that the multiplayer aspect of that is going to be really fun. I think it's going to be one that's going to be really cool to play in person with people. As much as online is great, I think this is going to be a great one to play as like a LAN party kind of situation.
I can see that.
Or but I think it's just going to be something fun to jump in and do. I'm hoping that there's enough to do in there in regards to the plot that keeps people going, other than just, hey, get on my ship and we're going to try to wreck another ship.
Yeah, basically.
But a game that I know is going to have a lot to do is Assassin's Creed Origins, and I'm happy about it for a lot of reasons. But one of it's coming out October 27th is the actual news here. But I'm happy about it because it's continuing to show all of these celebrities, if you will, of the time period. Because you have Mark Anthony and Cleopatra and all these people who are going to show up in the game, which I'm happy about that. And I was talking to someone recently about this, and this game basically started out in the very beginning, working on Assassin's Creed Origins Egypt was going to be a Prince of Persia game.
Yes.
And they scratched the game, they took the assets.
Which is where Assassin's Creed came from originally. So, for me, this kind of seems like back to form type of thing.
To me, it came from like 15,000 years before that, which irritates me that we're starting in Egypt when you need to go back to pre-Mesopotamia to start the origin story.
I don't think so.
After the garden?
Like, I think that you can... No, I don't know anything about Assassin's Creed, but I'm like, you need to at least get up to like big cities to make assassinations worth doing, because
agreed.
If you just kill the chief of your tribe, then you're in charge and there's nobody left to kill. That's not fun.
But Hammurabi had big cities, and he's another 10,000, or was it 10,000 years before this? Between Cleopatra, at least. I mean, this is real early. The thing is, you're not going to have pretty monuments to scale.
That's true.
That's why we started in Egypt.
There you go. So, figured that out. We have a bunch of news from Gamescom, so we're gonna kind of run through those real quick. PUBG on Xbox, PlayerUnknown Battleground, is coming out later this year, and so that's gonna be on Xbox, and they've been real cagey about whether it's an exclusive. They keep saying, that Microsoft is releasing it exclusively on Xbox, and it's like, well, obviously they're not publishing it on PlayStation.
Correct.
And so the lengths that they've gone to say how exclusive this is without answering a yes or no question, yes or no, makes it really obvious that this is absolutely coming to PlayStation, but we don't know when. Microsoft has gotten on board with them, and they are working with the PlayerUnknown team, PlayerUnknown and his team, to get this whole thing out. And you were telling me earlier that you see this as a really great example of a game that just came up and simply on its own merits. Like, nobody was telling us about that, and that's kind of how the indie scene goes. But this is one of the biggest games as far as just scope and complexity, I guess, was the big thing for you.
Yeah, for me it was you had someone who had a great idea, who had connections and had the know-how to start the ball rolling on it, and then developed a team to make this. It's not an individual who made the game, but
they only had room for one guy's name on the front.
One guy's name, yeah. So I think it's a great example of how we don't need distributors to tell us what's worth it anymore. We have games that can come out like Hellblade and others that you have a decent team who can fund their project and however they fund it. And when the product comes out, we can hear about it word of mouth wise and figure out whether or not it's actually worth it. Yes, marketing is important. Search engine optimization is important. There's a lot of things that still help in this digital age, but I think it proves that games that are coming from smaller developers with a smaller budget can make a ridiculous amount of money. I think they sold 18 million copies or something.
Yeah,
ridiculous
it's
of this game.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, and for such a small company to do that is fantastic. And when you have other larger companies that were backed by large distributors like Tomb Raider, and they didn't quite make what they wanted to make, which I still think was a great game, and it was still a success and still profitable, not ridiculously profitable. So they considered it was a failure. But this is a great example of how you don't need one of those distributors to do that. You just need the right word of mouth, a marketing team,
and
if you
a
can get
quality
it.
game.
That
That is one of the main things you need.
That's exactly right,
in my opinion.
And they have it. They have it in that game. So yeah.
And then we also got to see Biomutant for the first time, which looks very strange. It looks like if you took Rocket Raccoon, smashed him together with Cyborg, and then threw him into Far Cry. Like it's just such a bizarre assortment of just weird things going on in that game, and it's really fun to see all the different things that are going on. There's like a karma system, and like there's the tree of life you're supposed to be saving is optional. So you can like finish the game. Yeah. And so I don't even know what actually finishing the game means, but you can finish the game. Yeah. And the tree of life is it's dead. It's gone. And you're like, well, I guess everybody's gonna die now.
Hey, just gives you choices.
That sounds kind of fun. So you've got that, and you've got faction stuff. And I think there's going to be a bunch of stuff to do in here, and the moment to moment gameplay looks like a lot of fun. Yeah. So this is definitely on my radar. We don't have a release date or anything. Did they say ish? Is this?
I didn't hear an ish at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will keep you up to date on that. But yeah, go check out Biomutant and see if that's something fun you want to play.
Yeah.
And then we have Faye. Right. Faye. That's what I said. And so this is kind of a open world kind of. It's got elements of Metroidvania because your little silhouette wolf creature thing goes around and like learns new tunes and songs from different creatures, and that's what allows him to access new areas. Yeah. Or her or it. I don't know. I'm not 100%.
Did you just assume it's gender?
Yeah, but then I immediately fixed it before anybody was even able to call me on it. Yeah. But this looks weird and fun, and it looks like something I've never seen before, which if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that something I've never seen before is my favorite thing in the world.
It looks to me like it looks like Ori, and like Ori had a baby with Journey and was adopted by Zelda. and I love it. I really love it. There's no HUD in the game apparently. Yeah. You just kind of go around and do your thing. That's a thing that I think is starting to come to the forefront now, because and actually part of the reason for this, I was listening to an interview with some of the AC people. They were using. They started working on their focus testing. They actually were having people sit down and play it and whatever, and they were doing eye tracking, and they saw that a lot of people were not actually looking at the game. They were just sitting there staring at the mini map. So they were like, well, then we're moving that out of the way. And Horizon has a HUD that pops up only when necessary. Yeah. So a bunch of games are doing this, and it's really nice because, in the beginning, you just watched your character run across the screen. Yeah. And as you had to remember where everything was, or write it on graph paper. I mean, it depends on how you wanted to play the game. But right. But as we went into 3D, and as we got more ways we got more and more information that we needed to know right now. Yeah. And the screens just got crowded. Yeah. And I really like this moving back to a time when we can, because these games are gorgeous. We should be looking at them while we're playing them, and I think that will enhance our enjoyment of the games. And I think that that's a really cool thing that they were able to track based on new technology, and then take a step back and go, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, then here's this. Because I'll watch the mini map and just do everything with the mini map. Yeah. I mean, you can do that a lot of times. So yeah. I think it's cool.
Yep. So there's a bunch of Overwatch news this week. We're going to start off with the new map. The new map is Junkrat and Roadhog's old home, so it's going to be in Australia somewhere. They talked about some differences that are going to be going down on Diva at some point in the near future. We got a new movie for May. Did you watch that?
I didn't. I've seen clips of it, but
you should see that one in particular. It's really really interesting because she's such a cheerful character, and so it's to see kind of where she came from and everything. It's yeah. But yeah. So and then the other part is massive Mercy changes, which, my opinion, this is something that's been a long time coming because they haven't really messed with Mercy much.
Yeah.
And I think that overall these will be positive. I don't play on PC, so I haven't gotten a chance to jump on the PRG and play it. But I'm looking forward to it because I mostly play Lucio, but I feel like that this will give Mercy mains a lot more versatility. I like the Valkyrie. that just seems really cool. I'm curious if it will make her super vulnerable because I don't know how much evading she'll be able to do, how quick she can move in the air, things like that. How easy she is to shoot out of the air. But hey, flying.
Yeah,
flying is cool.
Yeah. You were discussing the change they made in regards to Res on that.
Yeah. Res was her ultimate, and it was like an area effect. Everybody comes back, and now it's you. Come back. But so it's going to be also based on a timer. It's a 30-second cooldown, which I predicted. And I predicted that to Tandem Cannon, and then it was confirmed later in the week. So I feel pretty good about that. So Blizzard, if you want to hire me to figure out cooldowns,
balancing,
I'm perfectly happy to do that for you. But yeah, it's a substantial change to a very common character, and so I'm looking forward to see how that plays out. And I think that this will bring Mercy back in a pretty big way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
pretty good. I'm excited about Sims 4 though. At least I know people who are going to be excited about Sims 4 because they're getting pets.
They are getting pets.
And that's one thing that I think is important, at least in my life and in some people's lives, is that fur companion. And I think it's really great this is coming to Sims 4. I didn't see if this is coming to the console version as well.
Yes,
it is. Okay,
it is.
So that's great, but I still don't know how to feel about Sims on a console because they've never done it well, in my opinion. The PC's always been better on that.
Yeah, I mean it's a game that's really designed for PC. Speaking of PC, Age of Empires 4 is coming out, which that series has been dormant for a long time, and it's being made by Relic, which I think is good, because Age of Empires 1 through 3 were the studio. Can't think of their name right now, but they went on from that to do Halo Wars.
Yeah,
and then they got shut down, But yeah, so we don't know anything about like gameplay or anything. The footage, if you're watching this, this is all we have, and it just goes through a bunch of different time periods, and it's like people have been fighting and killing each other for centuries, and it's like, yep,
basically
that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and I always loved the first Age of Empires, first and second Age of Empires. I think the third was, I don't know, to me it did not work. It didn't have the same spirit, and I think that the first two have just a great setting and a great feel, especially when you're starting. Like in the first one, you start and you're in like the Stone Age. It's like, go find some berries and hunt something. Oh, you learned you can plant those plants. Oh, now you know how to farm. Yeah. Like, I think that's really cool to go back that far and then have little, like, oh, you need a house. Yeah, that makes sense. I need a house.
Yeah.
Like, those very basic things. I don't know if this is going to go back that far, but it's one thing I enjoyed about it. But we have the remaster to do that if we want to do that.
We do. The HTC Vive also dropped in price from $800 to $600. So like you'll still need the PC to run it.
Yep.
But this is a considerable drop for one of the more popular ones. So,
I mean, if you have a decent PC, for $600, you get what is arguably the best VR setup.
yeah.
You know, in regards to graphics and you know, the controllers are unique, but they are they're very interactive and very immersive.
Yeah.
This is one thing that I do enjoy about it. I think that this is a step in the right direction, but I have a feeling that what this is HTC distancing themselves and saying, we're going to make as much money off of this as we can before we just stop making it or sell it to another company, sell the rights to another company.
Okay.
To sell the Vive. It's not done near as well as they wanted.
Yeah.
And part of that is because of the price tag. You have an $800 VR set and you need a $1,000 PC as well. Okay, $600 probably can do it, but that's a lot of money to ask an average person to throw down $1,500 on a gaming setup.
Yeah. I think it's been really good though to see how most of the developers. I think that it's important for it to be able to for the games to be able to move to different spaces, because these are really expensive games to make, and it's complicated on a level that you and I can't really even understand. But these are much more complicated, much more demanding of developers, and so I'm really glad that there's been a lot of crossover, so that the developers can be helped. I right when they started, there were like 5 or 6 developers who made their VR game and then died.
Yep.
Like those studios just disappeared and were no more.
They had no money.
Yeah.
They had no more money after that.
And so I feel like that the VR scene is continuing to grow, continuing to improve, and I think that bringing this down into a reasonable price range is something that will continue to be important in getting this to mainstream. I think that it's building momentum. It'll get there eventually, I hope. But this is an important step in the right direction.
I agree.
Speaking of steps in the right direction, Rocket League and Nintendo have created a thing.
What a great pairing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so Rocket League is coming to Nintendo Switch, and to bring that, of course, when they bring anything to Nintendo, they have to pair it with Mario and with the rest of the Nintendo family, which is wonderful. I'm gonna buy this again.
The Mario Luigi cars are cool.
Yeah.
Samus's car is the best.
Samus's car is
love
great.
it.
Yeah. I not only to have the cars, but also to have a portable version of Rocket League. I'm gonna have to get this.
Yeah.
Rocket League is a great example of a game that you can jump in for. I've been saying this for over a year now. Jump in for 5 minutes and play.
Yep.
That's it. And Switch is a great console to just pop in for a short, for a little bit of time and then pop out. Yep. So happy about that. Happy that Nintendo sees the light in that, sees the money in it. I mean, Rocket League's made a lot of money. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Also on Switch, Pokken got a demo in the US and Europe. And so if that's something that you were confused about, perhaps, because that is a weird concept, and I think that it's something that you need to... that very few people would be able to go, yes, I will definitely enjoy that thing that has been created. This is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Because it's such an odd pairing. I think that this is an example of something that kind of needs a demo.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I'll be playing that and let you guys know what I think about it, because I'm curious. I like Pokemon. I want a full Pokemon game on Switch, but since we're not getting that, maybe this will tide me over for a little while. I have a feeling like it's not going to, but yeah.
It's worth a shot.
It's worth a shot. Something else that's worth a shot is Final Fantasy 15 coming to mobile. I don't care about that as much. First of all, absolutely love the character styling in this. The chibi.
Yeah.
Love it. So I don't care about it as much, the fact that it's going to mobile, as that they basically said it's coming to Switch. Their exact words were it rhymes with, or it sounds a lot like Twitch.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that, because to play it on the go could be fun. I think that this is a game that arguably there are reasons which that's interesting to see on that version. I think that a lot of people didn't like Final Fantasy 15. I think this change could. I'm not going to say make it better, but let's say make it. I don't know, shine new light on things that could have been better in this type of world, in this type of art style. Yeah. Honestly, if they did a Final Fantasy 17 and or 16, it looked like this, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with the art style. The story, the characters, there was a lot that I had issues with on this particular game, but a lot of the issues did have to do with gameplay as well, and some of the things that were straight up broken in the game. And so this is going to be released as kind of an episodic thing. I think they said it was going to be like 10 installments, and the first one is free, so you can jump in, see if this is something that you want to run around, play, see what it is.
And that's how it should be.
So yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. And speaking of things that I like a lot, Horizon is adding a new difficulty, and they're calling it story mode, which I think that was the same thing that it was called in Mass Effect.
That's what it's called in Mass Effect as well. Which this is going to lower the difficulty to make the game let's say more accessible.
They said substantially easier.
Yeah.
Because it is a very difficult game.
It is.
And so the way that they that always bothered me. That in like
her swinging?
No, her sliding down on a rope with just her hands.
Yeah. Yeah. She should have like a leather strap that she wraps or that she
she does in the game. They do address that, but this is the footage we're watching is from an earlier version.
Okay.
Anyway, but that's really cool because I was really enjoying the story, but when it came to the cauldrons, like my method of playing this game is all about stealth and all about sneaking around, and it kind of had the same issues as what's the cyber enhanced sneaky game?
Dishonored?
No, similar though. But anyway, it had kind of the same thing where if you made a stealth build in Horizon, then you go to the cauldron and it's like, here, we're just going to throw you in a room with a boss. Good luck. And it's like, I'm not prepared for this. These are not my skills.
And those aren't optional cauldrons?
Ish.
Okay.
It's pretty important.
Because like in Borderlands, they have these arenas that you pop into, which are basic quasi horde mode. You can skip them.
Right.
So that's why I thought I'd ask. We did get a new announcement of a new game that's coming out, God's Trigger.
Yeah.
Which it's intriguing to me. I'm curious. I mean, it's at least piqued my interest. I like the art style, top down, isometric. There was someone was saying was comparing this to, was it Bullet? What was the game they were comparing this to?
It looks a lot like Hotline Miami.
Yeah, with co-op,
which I love. I love that game.
And the art style almost looks like Borderlands. Again, talking about that, the cell shading involved in it.
Yeah.
This could be really fun for a co-op, couch co-op game.
Yeah.
Sounds really cool.
It's also really fun because this is the developer Techland who did Dying Light.
Yes.
And this is a completely different game. And I love developers who finish a thing and it's successful and they're like, okay, that was fun. Sweep everything off the table.
Ideas.
Now what can we do?
Yeah.
And the developers and just going out and deciding to do something unique and different and fun, I'm all about supporting that.
Yeah.
So they've proven themselves. Had a surprise hit with Dying Light, was way more successful than most people expected it to be, and so I mean it's got the top down, it's got the twin stick shooting, and co-op, and those are our favorite things. Yeah. So yeah, I'm all about this. Really looking forward to it. So yeah, whenever that comes out, I'm gonna be playing it.
Yeah. Speaking of games games we won't be playing because we don't play basketball. NBA 2K had a little misstep here, or I should say, they may. I don't think they backed the wrong horse. So, in regards to sports games, the the athletes themselves are always the focus. That was after the whole like thing in the mid '90s when everyone was suing because people were using likenesses of football players and everything.
Yeah.
So NBA 2K18 said, "Hey, this year's cover athlete is what's his name, Kyrie Irving."
Yep.
And they're like, "Yeah," and apparently,
and so they put him. They were like, "Hey, this is going to be our cover artist."
Yep.
And there's like a weird curse thing that goes along with that, which a lot of people are excited because Tom Brady's going to be on the cover, and a lot of people don't like Tom Brady, and so
the curse
that's
being
kind of fun.
if you put them on the cover and you show artwork of them in a jersey, they will then be transferred to another team.
No.
That's what happened.
That's what happened this year.
I thought that was the curse.
No. They get injured or have a crappy season, or something happens that like once you're on the cover, nobody wants to talk about you anymore.
Oh, okay.
So this is a new one because Kyrie Irving got traded to the Celtics.
Yeah.
And so if they're either going to have to reprint the covers, or maybe they hadn't printed them yet, but this is coming out next month, so there's a good possibility that there's a huge stack, and we'll send them to Africa like they do with the shirts with the wrong team. Like is that?
Oh, I
is that
didn't
what
even
happens
think
there?
about that. I didn't even think about that. Oh man.
Yeah.
The amount. The question is it more expensive to junk all of those discs, or to unpackage them and repackage them? And you know what?
Yeah.
The cost, the physical cost of the media, it's going to be less expensive to just destroy every one of those copies and reprint them, and you're going to be out $1.50 per.
Yeah, but NBA 2K, like, they printed millions, I would imagine.
Yep.
So I think that they should sell them
Yeah.
for $10 more.
Yeah, because otherwise people are going to scalp them. That's a good idea.
So yeah,
hit the scalpers where it hurts.
do it for $10 more, and then people would be like, "Oh, nobody's gonna want to buy this.
I'll buy it.
I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna collect it, and in 20 years, it's gonna be, haha, I have this." That's what they should do.
Yeah, because it's not going to be worth. It's going to be like those collector plates that they sell on QVC.
The NASCAR.
And it's like, oh, this is going to be worth so much money. No, it's not, because the only people who want those bought them on watching QVC at 1 a.m.
Yeah. And they don't make good decisions. Nobody makes good decisions while watching infomercials at 1 o'clock.
Well, I was going to say, what was the nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m. or whatever?
I don't know, but they're wrong. Lots of fun stuff happens at that time.
Lots of fun.
So I'm gonna preface this by saying this is not Half-Life 3. This is not Half-Life Episode 3.
No, it's not.
But this is what we're getting.
Yeah.
So Mark Laidlaw, who was working for Valve story department, he was in charge of a lot of that at the time. And so he released kind of like a letter / version of letter or version of this that basically lays out a potential ending.
Yeah. Because it's the ending allegedly that he was working on back when he was working with them.
Right.
I think that I don't know. To me. From a writer standpoint, from an ethical standpoint, I think what he did was horrible.
Okay, go on.
Because if you, first of all, I guarantee he signed NDA stuff that he just violated.
Okay.
Second of all, you worked on a project, and you no longer work on that project, and then you spill the beans on what may or may not they may or may not still be working on. If you worked on a set of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And then you quit, fired, whatever it is, not even fired. Like you're going to your next job.
Okay.
They're done filming, and then you go, hey, guess what happens on episode 7? Guess what happens on the finale? It's airing tonight as we're recording this.
Yeah.
If someone did that 2 weeks ago because they happened to be on set, how would you feel about that?
Okay. I think this makes it clear that no one at Valve has any intention of releasing this game.
Well, because
there is okay, this is one of those bets that you can only lose. There's no way that this will ever come out.
Half-Life 2 Episode 3.
This version of
Yes.
Half-Life Episode 3
Well, not now.
cannot
No.
and wasn't going to.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, very quick aside, Valve said quite a while ago, which I didn't report on because it wasn't really that big of a deal to me, that they were talking about Half-Life 2, Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. That was supposed to be Half-Life 3. And they decided to come out with it in an episodic fashion.
Right, so
and
that it could come out faster.
And then when people were like, "Oh, where's Half-Life 3?" They were like, "Oh, that was Half-Life 3." So
yeah, it's confusing.
They at one point they should probably come out with a Half-Life 3, but how long has it been since? I think it's been 7 years since Half-Life Episode 2. You can double check me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's been 7 years since then. The lead writer who wrote Half-Life 1 and 2 has said that they've not contacted them and they're not doing anything. So,
Half-Life 2 Episode 2 was released in 2007.
oh, I'm sorry, 10 years. I was off by a little bit.
A decade ago.
A decade ago. The lead writer had said previously that that they hadn't contacted him. He had no intention to work with them. They had no intention of working with him ever again. So it's like it's not happening. And if it happens, it's going to be like a Mass Effect Andromeda situation.
Yeah. So yeah, that's some news. But if you've been looking for closure, we think that this is probably the best shot you have for it.
Yeah, it's more closure than Assassin's Creed meets Final Fantasy, because apparently that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, that's so they're putting Assassin's Creed outfits into Final Fantasy 15 as free DLC because anybody was asking for that. They're I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why this is happening, but it's a thing that is happening, and they're putting it. They're just mashing those two together, and
it doesn't even make any sense. It's not, unless they're just messing with us on a meta level. But
those are some expensive jokes.
That's an expensive joke to have me not understand why they're doing something to a game franchise that I want to care about, and putting a game franchise that I still care about into the game like. I guess they think, oh, well, it'll reinvigorate people to Final Fantasy 15.
Right, but like, I love ice cream and I love tacos.
Yes.
I don't want them together.
No. Don't put cumin on your ice cream. Cumin flavored ice cream.
I bet you can get it in Japan.
You probably can. You probably can. Now I want to make it just to be disgusted.
So speaking of things you can get in Japan and the U.S.,
Yep.
Secret of Mana. Sensekendetsu 2 is coming to the PlayStation. It's coming to I think Xbox and definitely PC. They haven't announced it for Switch yet, which is kind of weird. Did you ever play Secret of Mana?
I didn't.
Okay, it's an excellent game. It's also one of the best quasi turn. It's half turn based, half action.
Okay.
But it's multiplayer too, like co-op.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I think that this will be a really fun one for you and Whitney to play.
Yeah.
It's a great story. I like the art style. Highly recommend this. So whenever it comes out, and they're bringing it to Vita.
Yes.
So I'm gonna play it there, because that's where I play my things.
I have a theory which I thought about earlier this week when I was watching people report on this,
Okay.
and it has nothing to do with the game itself.
Share.
So I say mana,
Okay.
you say mana,
Yeah.
and I think I know why.
Okay.
My first time ever hearing the word
All right.
actually spoken out loud was playing Diablo.
Okay.
Because the sorcerer says, I am out of mana. And he
Okay.
says mana, not mana.
Right.
But anybody who had been playing games beforehand, you may or may not have said mana or mana.
Right.
But when Diablo came out, since that was my big experience with mana and hearing that over and over again,
Okay.
I've said mana my entire life. And that's I think that Diablo
Diablo.
has been the data to data, if you will, of our gaming generation.
Interesting.
Because Data and Data, same thing.
Right.
But because I watch Star Trek, it's Data.
Yeah.
But did you hear that story, by the way, when they were on set? Or not on set, when they were doing the table read, the first table read.
No.
They were all reading the first episode.
Yeah.
And Brent Spiner thought his character was pronounced Data because that's how he'd heard the word said before.
Okay.
And the first person to say the word was Patrick Stewart, who said Data. And they all stopped and went, wait, I thought it was Data. And another person went, no, it's Data. And they had this... So then they had a rule from then on. The first person to say whatever it is, that's the pronunciation.
Whoa,
so that's the only reason.
That's awesome.
That's the only reason that Data is pronounced Data instead of Data.
Holy crap.
Is because they're like, well, that's how I read it, so that's how it is.
Well, that's how Patrick Stewart said it, so that's how it is.
I mean,
that's my opinion.
That's exactly my opinion on it.
Actually, the reason that I pronounce it mana is because manna was what the Hebrews ate when they were traveling to Canaan.
Correct.
So for me, these needed to be differentiated.
Okay.
And so manna already had a spelling, a definition, a use.
Sure. And
so mana, just in case you're ever going to get confused about whether you were talking about magic or Israelites.
Isn't it the same thing though? They're both magical. They're both magical things that you eat to give you energy of some sort.
No, you don't eat. No, you can have a potion of mana, but the magical power itself is what mana is. Mana is not.
Yeah,
mana is it's a power. It's not. It's not an item.
Yeah. That's true, because you're not like, I'm going to drink more mana.
Right.
You're like, I need more mana, give me the potion.
Exactly.
That's true.
So, and then we have a really cool story about a game that we hadn't heard about.
Yeah.
It's called Darkwood, and it's released by Acid Wizard Studio.
And now I'm giving them money because of this story.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so they released it. It's a horror game on Steam, and they saw some people on there who played it for a little while, and they were like, this is a really fun game, but I played it for a little bit, and then I returned it before it came up because I didn't want my parents to have to worry about the charges coming up, but I didn't want them to freak out.
Because Steam you can return if you've played under a certain amount of hours.
Yeah, which is
return it immediately.
Yeah, so it's effectively a demo thing, and so this kid liked it enough to review it and be like, hey, I really like this game. I recommend people buy it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
And so Acid Wizard Studio was like, okay, well then we'll just throw it on Pirate Bay.
Yeah. Like,
and they released a full unadulterated, and they said they even made some joke about we're not even going to make you play with pirate hats or anything, and. Yeah,
which would have been funny to just be like, "Hey, you get the game, but sorry, you have to play."
So
with
this is a horror game, and if you're watching the video, I highly recommend that you go check out video on this, because the way that they've done lighting is really, really wonderful, and that's lighting and sound. I think are the two biggest components if you want to make a game truly scary. So they did that, and they went ahead and put it on Pirate Bay. It's a full version, and they were like, hey, if you like it and you're able, please buy it.
Please buy it, which I will do. Yeah,
and so I am really excited about their willingness to go out and do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I applaud the studio, and I encourage you to go check out Darkwood and see if it's something that you like, and if it is, buy it.
To me, that was a smart move, because for indie developers, one, it's great marketing.
Yes.
Two, for an indie developer to say, for indie developers, for the most part, what they want is they want people to play their games. That's really what every game developer wants, but what happens is money gets in the way, where they're like, well, we have to make a profit.
Well, and then you've got indies on the other end, like Jonathan Blow saying, I think that piracy is just the worst thing, and if you're trying to pirate my game, I think you're a horrible person, and I hope your kids die. Okay, that's not an exact quote, I paraphrase.
But he
was really mad at pirates, and there's been a bunch of things like when SimCity came out a couple years ago, the game was broken because they were trying so hard to make sure that nobody was pirating it that only pirates could play it.
Yep.
And so for a studio to come out and be like, hey, so you want to try a game, and then you maybe want to buy it,
Yeah, it's only $15.
Yeah.
I mean, so for $15, a horror isometric game with some really interesting lighting, I think is great. I think Five Nights is like $10. I mean,
yeah.
So to me, I think this looks better than Five Nights at Freddy's. I know there's the whole secret stories behind the stories that does intrigue everyone on FNAF.
There is. I think that I feel like Five Nights became what it was because of watching people play it or players reacting to it or whatever.
Yeah.
Darkwood to me looks genuinely more interesting.
Yeah.
So
I'm literally throwing it in my cart at this moment.
There you go.
Like I want to support the developer in this. I think that this shows the maturity involved when you and you know what, every single time I've seen a developer say, you know what, I'm going to give this out for free, but pay if you want.
Yeah.
Every time that I've seen that happen, the game does very well.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it does very well is because you have people who, of course, will pirate it no matter what.
Right.
But you have others who say, yeah, I appreciate that gesture.
Well, once you reach a certain age, because like there were times I've pirated games before,
yeah, because
I had no money. I mean, right now I'm kind of broke, but I had some extra money. So PlayStation's running a really fun sale right now, and so I went and got King's Quest. I kind of want to start that over and then stream me playing it with the girls. I think that'd be fun.
You should get the camera, do the picture-in-picture.
Yeah,
I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what we've got going on this week.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so like once you reach a certain age and you're able to pay for it, you're able to appreciate, hey, studios go out of business. Somebody has to pay for these games to get made. We have to support our developers, and that's something that we always talk about.
And it's like anything with art, you have to support the creators.
Yeah.
And if I'm given a choice to support a creator, then that I appreciate what they have created, I will do that. There are some specific ones that we follow that, like the next Kojima game, which we hardly know anything about, I'm going to buy. The next Miyazaki game, whenever he talks about it, we're going to buy, because we appreciate that artist. Whenever you have that type of relationship, I think that's something that we're gaining again when it comes to art, when it comes to video games, which are art. So let us know in the comments what some of your favorite creators are and some of the ways that you like to support them if you can't support them just with regular purchases.
And speaking of supporting, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, go ahead and do that.
Yep.
Check the subscribe button.
It's right down here, I think.
Yeah.
Here.
So go check that out and go ahead and do the bell. You've been throwing up a bunch of Demon Souls and stuff, and then you're going to move from there to Dark Souls.
That's right.
So we're trying to enhance the variety of things that we're able to provide on our channel.
Yep.
So
full
subscribe.
playthroughs of Souls games, game movies, we're bringing back movie reviews. We want to do more. And let us know as well what you'd like to see from us in regards to the YouTube side of things. With the podcast, let us know as well if there's specific segments, things you want us to highlight more, and we'll do that as well. We want to make this show the best that it can be for you, the viewer and listener.